Okay, picture this. You walk into that huge meeting, maybe it's with a CFO, a VP, someone high up.
Yep.
And the first thing you do is you immediately switch your whole style.
Right.
You adjust everything based on their job title.
It's what we're all taught to do. It's almost ingrained in sales training. Adapt to the biggest cue you can see, which is usually rank.
But if you're doing that, you might actually be wasting a ton of mental energy on the wrong thing.
That's right. Because some really surprising research shows that adapting to a customer's social status is actually one of the weakest predictors of real sales success.
That just turns decades of sales wisdom on its head. So in the next few minutes, we're breaking down that very research into 3 sales tactics that will really sharpen how you and your team adapt a pitch.
This is Inside Sales Geek, where we translate academic sales research into practical strategies that actually work.
Okay, so let's start with the core concept here, adaptive selling. We all hear that term, but what does it actually mean in the research?
Well, in the study, it's defined pretty simply. It's just altering sales behaviors during a customer interaction based on perceived information.
It's simple enough. And we know it works, right?
Oh, absolutely. The evidence is solid. Being adaptable, it boosts job satisfaction for the salesperson, it increases customer satisfaction, and, the big one for the bottom line, it boosts overall selling performance. Adaptation is key.
But here's the problem, and this is what the researchers really wanted to solve. For years, we've measured this with really generic questions.
Right.
Like asking a salesperson, do you vary your sales style from customer to customer? And if they say yes, they get a high score.
And that's where the advice just falls apart. If you're a sales manager, telling a rep to just adapt more is completely meaningless.
It's useless.
It is. Does it mean change the product you're recommending? Does it mean change your handshake, your arguments? What are you supposed to actually do?
It's uncoachable. So the mission of this study, and they did deep interviews with 10 experienced salespeople and then a big survey of almost 300 practitioners, was to find the specific things.
The mechanisms.
Exactly. The specific tactics that actually explain why some people score so high on those adaptive selling scales.
They wanted to know what behaviors top performers are actually changing, and just as important, what customer attributes are triggering that change. And what they found gives us 3 really actionable strategies.
Let's jump into tactic 1 then. The research calls this argumentation adaptation.
And this was the big one. The finding is that highly adaptive salespeople focus on modifying their argumentation. So the reasons they provide for buying more than almost anything else.
So they don't change the product.
No, not the product itself. They change the justification for buying it. And that change is driven by 2 things they perceive in the customer: their needs and their personality.
So they're focused on internal cues, not external ones. I thought the direct quotes from the interviews were so revealing here. One salesperson said they never shoot all 10 arguments out at once.
Right. If you have 10 great reasons your product is a fit, you don't just list them. You have to strategically pick the one that fits what that customer is looking for right now.
And that requires a really quick diagnosis. You have to get past the generic value proposition.
Think about the 2 personality types they mentioned, the numbers guy versus the more sociable customer. If you identify that analytical buyer...
It's a numbers person.
Yeah, the numbers person. You just cannot launch into your anecdotal life story about how the product helped another company. It won't land.
You have to go straight to the ROI, the metrics, the data.
And then the reverse is true. If you have someone who's clearly focused on team synergy, on culture, you can't just bombard them with spreadsheets. You'll lose them completely.
So the real application here is training your team to get faster at personality diagnosis.
Yes. In the first couple of minutes of a call, can you tell if they're direct, formal, relationship-focused? That initial read has to dictate which argument you lead with.
It's about tailoring the filter. You're presenting the same product, but through a different lens that matches their priorities.
Exactly. Another salesperson said, if they sense the customer prioritizes direct communication, then I don't beat around the bush. Simple as that. It's about matching their style.
This is a pretty powerful shift, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It suggests that success is less about having the best arguments, period, and more about having the single most relevant argument for that one person.
At that one moment, yes.
Okay, now here's where it gets really interesting, moving into the second tactic.
Yeah.
Top sellers don't just adapt what they argue.
They're adapting how they say it.
Right. And this is all about communication style.
The second major behavior is adapting their communication style. And this is based on 3 things: customer needs, again, the customer's own communication style, and critically, customer body language.
Wait, body language is a top driver.
Yeah.
That sounds like the best salespeople are on this constant real-time feedback loop.
That's exactly what the data suggests. Body language is key because it tells the salesperson, and I'm quoting here, where we stand, where we're going, and what customers like or dislike.
So if a customer leans back or breaks eye contact when you mention pricing.
That's immediate data, and it has to dictate your very next sentence.
So adapting communication style means synchronizing everything. The research says not only your way of expression or your arguments, but also the length and the complexity of sentences, for example.
You're essentially mirroring them. It's about reducing the cognitive load for the buyer. If the customer uses a lot of technical jargon,
You pick it up and use it back.
yes, you meet them on the same level. It builds trust and rapport almost instantly.
And it goes for tone and formality, too. One of the salespeople in the study said if a customer has a very relaxed attitude, they become more relaxed.
But if the person is very short, very businesslike, the seller automatically adjusts to be just as formal.
So as a manager, you're not just coaching what your team says, but how they say it, their pacing, their tone, even their posture.
That's a huge part of it. The study found that salespeople often subconsciously mirror a customer's posture and gestures. It creates this feeling of congruence, of being on the same page.
So if the customer talks fast, you speed up a bit. If they're slow and deliberate,
You slow down. It's this constant, instantaneous synchronization that the high performers are doing, maybe without even thinking about it.
quick pause here. If you're finding this valuable, hit subscribe so you don't miss our next analysis. And share this with your sales team.
Okay, so this next finding is tactic 3, which I call the focus funnel, because adaptation takes real mental energy, right?
Of course.
And the beauty of this research is it tells us what efforts are actually wasted. It helps you focus your team's energy where it really counts.
Okay, so let's get to the counterintuitive stuff. What should we tell our teams to stop worrying about so much?
When they analyzed what explains a high adaptive selling score, they found 3 things that did not have a significant impact. Adapting based on customer social status, customer's relationship length, or changing the actual product recommendation.
Hold on a second. Are you really saying that all the sales training about managing up to the C-suite, about changing your style for a job title, that it was wrong?
It sounds shocking, I know, but the data was clear. That idea that you speak differently to a managing director than to someone from order processing, it had no significant total effect on their success score.
But why? I mean, a managing director is more important to the deal. Shouldn't you have a special approach?
The researchers think that focusing on a fixed external cue, like a job title, actually takes mental energy away from what's really happening in the room.
So you're so busy trying to act executive.
That you miss the fact that the executive is frowning because your argument isn't landing. You're missing the real, live behavioral cues.
Wow. So all that mental energy trying to act a certain way for a certain title, it could actually be counterproductive.
That's the idea. If that managing director happens to be a numbers guy, that's tactic 1, and speaks in short, direct phrases, that's tactic 2. That is what you adapt to, not their title. You adapt to the person, not the position.
That distinction is a huge aha moment. It means we can stop telling our teams to obsess over corporate hierarchy. And it's the same for relationship length, too.
Same thing. The length of your relationship is a non-driver. Because even if you've known a customer for 5 years, if they walk into a meeting today with an urgent problem and an aggressive tone,
You have to adapt to their mood today, not your history with them.
Exactly. Adaptation has to be instantaneous. It has to be relevant to the moment. The data is so clear. The adaptation that drives success comes from live behavioral cues, needs, personality, body language, not from fixed external cues.
This lets managers completely redirect their coaching. Stop role-playing how to talk to a VP and start focusing all your training on real-time diagnosis for argumentation and communication style.
And remember, that third non-driver, changing the actual product recommendation. Successful reps don't change the solution they're offering. They change the argument for that solution.
It's about working smarter. Focus your brainpower on the variables you can read and react to in the moment.
A fancy title is just noise. The ability to pivot your argument based on a perceived need is what truly matters.
If you adopt this focus funnel, you're really liberating your team to excel at the 2 tactics that are proven to work.
That's the goal.
Okay, let's recap the 3 tactics you can put into practice tomorrow.
Tactic 1, master argumentation adaptation. Stop just listing all your product's benefits. Find the one reason for buying that matters most to them based on their needs and their personality.
Tactic 2, synchronize your communication style. You need to immediately adjust your tone, your pace, your vocabulary, and your formality to match the customer's style and their real-time body language.
And tactic 3, use the focus funnel. Stop wasting mental energy adapting primarily to external things like social status or how long you've known them. Redirect all that effort to analyzing the live behavioral cues that actually drive success.
So pick one of these to test with your team this week. Track your results, then implement the next one. This has been Inside Sales Geek, translating academic research into wins for your team. New episode every Tuesday.